We're back. 2 days, 3 days in a row. It's
I
Wednesday,
don't like
isn't it?
being on this side. It's weird.
Yeah, it's
Oh well.
you got kind of got to get used to it, or you can come rebuild my studio again. And
Sure.
yeah, it's just not happening. This is happening. This is happening. Um, so it was a fun day in my house yesterday, Paul. You know, it's important to admit when we've screwed up, and now it's going to cost me some money. Not a lot
Okay.
of money, but plumbing,
Ah,
plumbing.
what happened?
So not any of the plumbing that I did. So
Okay.
here's the sitch, if you will. This is the most frustrating one. We've got a drain and a shower downstairs. I think I said yes yesterday. We have a plumber come to give us a quote on running a pipe through the concrete,
Right.
approximately that far.
Yep.
And yeah, so he came and looked at it and said, "Yeah, that'll be about $3,400." I went, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa."
You're like, what if I cut the hole?
I did, and then he's like, "If you dig it all up, then it's $1,000." I was like, "Well, if I dig it all up, like that's the easy part. Like what's left, just fixing it." So
Right.
we've got another plumber coming tomorrow to see,
Yeah.
because he wanted to dig up the entire like bathroom and then just redo all the plumbing for the toilet and for the shower. I'm like, the toilet works fine. I don't want to dig this all up.
I thought you were going to say that water got in your basement.
No,
Yeah.
if you run the shower, it does because that drain just doesn't go in it. What I'm thinking, or what I'm crossing my fingers and hoping, is so that drain. There's a thing called a P trap, which will come into play here in a second, which is where I screwed up. It basically goes down and then it makes a little loop. So if you put crap in there, it settles down there and then goes on. I'm hoping that the bottom of that P trap or somewhere is that's just all
Yep.
corroded.
You can just
and
remove it, remove the gunk, put it back.
yeah, or it honestly just might even be broken or something, and it's putting water under the slab of the basement, which I know for a fact because then it comes up basically elsewhere in the basement,
Yeah.
like right next
Nice.
to the shower.
Yep.
And so it's like, okay, clear this out. Anyways, that aside, so I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to deal with that because I could do the work, but God, that's a lot of work.
You're young enough that you still think about doing stuff like this. I'm always like, just going to ride it out. You know, this is going to be the next owner's problem.
Yeah, see, that's the problem is the next owner might be when I die.
Right. No, I understand. I get it.
Could be a couple years, but where I screwed up is
If I die in this house, something has gone horribly wrong.
I'll remember that.
Just remember those words.
Yep. Where I screwed up is so we have another drain in the house, totally separate issue, where we had a water softener, which brings up another issue we talked about. And we hadn't used a water softener in about 10 years because, Paul, do you remember how you were complaining about how your local municipality does not have a water softener at the plant?
Right.
Mine
Right.
does.
Right. As they should. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the water softener, well, we still have hard water, but it's not like brutally hard. Like I don't think we need it currently. Anyways, we haven't used this thing in 8 to 10 years. And so we disconnected it because of taking it out. And then what we did was we dumped the junk, the water that had been sitting in there down the drain.
Yep.
And there was some sludge in that drain. And so now my other drain is blocked
Right.
in the P trap because it's like, there's standing
I've had
water.
this problem, except this happened in my sewage drain.
Yeah, this is just a water drain. It's like there's 2 inches of water now, and then like I have an auger, and he put it in there, and it's like it's just sludge right there, and I can't get it free. So a plumber's got to come and fix that one.
Sure.
But anyway,
Industrial strength vacuum, a sludge vacuum.
which effectively what it is, I've got a shop vac, and I was like, wait a minute. And then
This is kind of random, but speaking of my municipality, one of the things I really like about this place, and they were just doing it when I came home from the gym, is in the fall, you just rake your leaves into the street
yep,
and then they clean it up.
Yep.
You know, like in Dedham or most of Massachusetts, I assume like this is your problem. Like you you have to bag it. You have to use special bags.
Oh, no.
You know, it's like this whole, nope, you just kind of rake it over to the corner and giant vacuum cleaner truck drives down the street. Nice.
Yep, they do that with limbs as well in our area where we
Yeah, right. Same. Yes, that's right. Yeah, tree limbs and actually assorted debris too. Like if you, like a guy up the street left out a couple of concrete blocks, and I was like, really? And then 2 days later, they were gone. So I was like, okay, well, we'll take anything, you know, bodies, whatever.
I wonder if they would do my plumbing. It's like that.
Yeah, just put it out at the edge of the property.
Yeah, that shower is the thing that's going to stop me from we will finish this basement, but that is
Yeah.
because I could have the electrical done this weekend.
Right.
Easily. Like, that's not a problem. Now, I am going to do some duct work because I got that quoted out and they wanted too much money for that. I found the parts online. It's like, it's just a cold air return. How hard could it be? He says blindly, having never done duct work.
See, I love the way you think. I always think, see, if someone would say to me, all it is a cold air return, and I'd say, that's fascinating. I don't know what that is. How much is it going to cost me to pay you to do that?
Mm-hmm. Well, the answer in my case was about like $900 to $1,000, give or take, depending on how long it took them. But it's all I'm doing is I'm not even doing a new run. They stupidly, when they built this house, like the existing cold air return goes out 30 feet and then goes from a 20-inch opening down to an 8. And that eight was too small. So what they did was 20 plus years ago is they put in a totally separate run of 12 inches on another part of the house. Well, I had a guy out here and he says, what you need is a 16-inch run at the end it needs to go from 20 to 16 instead of 20 to 8. And then you could get rid of that entire other run, which would free up. This is like
when you expand a highway, like the end game is, it just will work as good as it did when we started. It's just not going to get worse,
That's exactly the point. The whole thing is that I have a duct run, that additional one that they added runs my entire length of the house, and I don't need it if I take that 8-inch and turn it into a 16. So I found the adapter piece to go from 20 to 16, and then they sell 16-inch ductwork at Home Depot. Okay. And this is where he says, how hard could it be? So we're about to find out.
I would never ask that question. It sounds hard to me.
It probably is. I mean, it's just, you just snap the stuff together.
Also, on a related note, I believe Thursday will be my day in hell. That is the day that my roof is being replaced.
Oh.
And you can hear the tick, 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 tack, 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 bang, bang, bang sound all around my neighborhood. It's been going on for probably a month now from that hail thing. So our day of reckoning is Thursday. And then I don't know if it's Friday or later, but they're also replacing the 2 windows over the sink. And actually, I should tell you, because this came up, my insurance is literally paying 100% of the cost of the roof. So while the guys are here, we're having them do the window.
Yeah.
And that we will pay for that. It's like $1,500, I think, or $1,800 or something. But it's pretty incredible,
That's what insurance
Let's wait till my neighbors see the clown colors I chose for the roof, purple and green. It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, you don't have to look at it. I mean, you only see it coming and going. They got to look at it all day.
I was joking with the guy across the street that I was going to use the different colored tiles to spell out "F-U Eagles" on the roof facing his house, so he could just enjoy that every morning when he went to work.
You should. The only problem is you're going to find out like your roofers are Eagles fans.
Well, of course, that's the thing, right? I must have told you this. When we first moved in, my wife came back from Wegmans. We first moved here, and she had a welcome mat with a Patriots logo on it. Mm-hmm. I guess the Wegmans here sells football stuff, but it's for all different teams, not just local teams, which is whatever. So she put it on the front of the house, and I'm like, no, you got to take that down. She's like, what are you talking about? I said, Stephanie, I get packages every single day. FedEx, UPS, obviously the mailman, whatever. I'm like, these people they hate the Patriots. You can't do that. I'm going to find a smashed phone on my front, porch. I'm like, you can't. So she threw it out.
Written in blood on our driveway. What is this?
Yeah, exactly. My brother-in-law said, actually, we put it in the back door, and he said, you should have kept it out front. I would have enjoyed wiping my feet on it every time I came over. Fair enough.
So how have you been enjoying this little guy back here, which is
so Pixel? Let's see how this comes out in the color. It's weird because it's not as bland as it looks in the camera. I have a hard time getting an accurate view of it. And of course that's a case, right? Not the body. Maybe I should take this thing off. Then I'll break it because it's made of glass. It's weird how bland that looks because it's actually kind of a nicer color. And
the challenge you're facing is that you've got a yellow backdrop.
No, I know. When you angle it, if it gets right there, is probably an accurate color. Mm-hmm. First of all, I like this two-tone thing a lot, which is too bad because I'll never see it again because I put it in the case. And when you put it in the case, literally every speck of color is gone. You can't see even a little line of orange there at the bottom. It's just nothing. Yep. It's gone. So this thing could have been any color. It could have been whatever. I did do a little write up this morning, kind of a follow up about my experiences since. It seems like the number one concern people have is battery life. I have nothing intelligent to say about that yet. I haven't had an issue. I've only had the thing for 36 hours maybe. Um, Performance is great. The screen is great. Remember, that was a stupid problem with the 2XL. Speakers are great. That was a stupid problem with the 3XL. So I have been kind of chipping away at the problems I had with previous Pixels. Like the 3A is great, but you couldn't do anything about the storage or the performance. This obviously solves that. But the funny thing is, like, I realized it was sometime late yesterday afternoon. I was laying on the bed and I was writing something on the Surface and then working on the phone while it was doing whatever. And I was like, man, this thing it's kind of boring because it's like the same. I don't have a 2XL anymore, but I bet if you held up a 2XL right next to this, they'd be identical looking, And then the three, and I can't do this in a way that would make sense. And of course, I have a different kind of well, I'll just hold it up with this thing. So, like, this is a 3AXL, right? So, aside from the bigger bezel at the bottom, I mean, it's the same. It's the same thing. Like the bezel up here is exactly the same size, basically. The bezel down here is smaller. It's a little taller, a little thinner. I don't know. The performance is great. Like it's
an Android phone, right?
Yeah, but it's like one of those things. Like I think because of course I've purchased several phones this year. I've reviewed a few others. There's a little bit of overload now, I think, with this stuff. In the past year alone, I have purchased 4 Pixels. Let me think about that. And I'm not talking about the ones I brought back. I mean, the ones I literally bought. And there's a sameness to them, right? And I think, Apple does the same thing. If you look at like the 10, the 10S, the 10, the 11 now, there's a continuum there of design. And if you were to pick up one or the other, like you have what do you have, a 10S or a 10? I don't even remember. 10S.
10S.
Yeah, so if you picked up a 10 or if you picked up an 11 Pro, I mean, honestly, if it was in the same case or whatever, I don't think you would notice the difference. The notch is the same, So it's like that. And I think for most people, because of the way that upgrades go now with smartphones, very few people, unless they had a reliability problem, which could have happened, are going to go from like a 2XL or 3XL to this. They're not, why would you spend another $1,000?
Yeah.
But if you're coming from like an original Pixel, which is more likely, that had a different design. This was before the all screen style designs. It had that old fashioned bezel, and a front button, if I'm not mistaken, or an older phone like a Nexus or whatever. This is obviously a great upgrade. And the thing that killed the phones for me in the past, the 2 and the 3 in particular, were like problems unrelated to the core stuff I liked about it: stock Android, the Google Fi connectivity, and the photography stuff. And it just really weighed on me. So I think the good news here is those problems, I mean, so far, I mean, obviously there could be some horrific reliability problem I'm unaware of yet, but they've been fixed from what I can tell. And it's cool. So it's
just like the last gen, but works.
Yes. This is what the phone should have been 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Like if the 2XL, ideally, if it was this, and if I was a normal person who didn't review phones all the time, which I'd like to be, by the way, I'd like to stop doing this. Reviewing specifically, I would have held on to it. I would have. In fact, I did hold on to the 2XL, even though it wasn't my daily driver until early this year, if I'm not mistaken, Marchish. I mean, I had one of those things for like a year and a half. It was close,
Yeah.
Anyway, it's good. But it's just this realization: I spent $1,000 to fix a problem that was not my fault. You know what I mean? Like, it's the phone I wanted a year ago, 2 years ago.
I'm about potentially spend $3,400 to fix a problem that will make absolutely no difference.
Right. Well, it will make a difference in that. Well, I mean, you don't have the after effects, right? I mean, it will just work the way. In other words, it's the same kind of solution. It will get it to be where it was supposed to be.
Yep.
Yeah. Not your fault, but you are responsible for the cost. Yeah.
Yeah, because we can't take it out because you don't want to lose a shower in your house. I mean, that literally devalues it because then you have one less shower, and it's.
Of course.
Who knows? It's just. This has been we've been lucky though, at least knock on wood. This has been the first major hiccup in the home renovations this fall. I was for sure thought they were going to take the shingles off the roof because we didn't have underlayment. It was literally just two sets of shingles on top of each other. And I figured they were going to take that off and be like, your plywood's all screwed. And they said,
of course, yeah, rotted or something, like water got through.
So
the shingles were doing the job, I guess, repelling the elements essentially. That's good because I mean, I could only imagine. Well, who knows? It's probably just plywood or something, right?
Over the top of just plywood. And I think they were charging like $79 a sheet plus labor. I think it came out to like $150 to do each one, which in a single one, not so bad. But on
but it adds roof, multiply it by the size of your house.
Yeah, you got an extra grand or two real quick. So, anyways, well, I wish you the best of luck with your roof endeavors.
Well, you maybe if you're lucky, you'll hear it.
I hope not. I've gone through that not long ago.
Yeah, it's like post-traumatic stress. You'll get develop a little twitch.
Yeah, what's real great too is like you get through the first part of them digging it off, which makes a noise. You're like, a little bit of sanity break, and then they come back with the nails, and they're like,
oh yeah. And there's always like the next day, like our neighbors on the next circle over did their roof. Probably it would have been last Friday, so they were out there like literally 8 o'clock in the morning until I think it was dark. What time that is. And I was like, okay, whatever. They worked all day, but they got it done. And I swear to God, 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, they're out there again. I'm like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. But they didn't work all day, but they were out there for at least 2-3 hours, whatever. I was like, guys, seriously. But that's the whole neighborhood is like this. It's just a rural construction zone.
Yep. Yep. So you got anything else for today, Mr. Paul?
Just one little quickie. I think with the new Surface PCs, there's been some concern over battery life as well. I don't think this got enough press, but when we talked to Microsoft, whenever that was, a couple weeks ago now, they were talking about battery life numbers that were supposedly like real world battery life numbers, right?
Yeah.
Not the streaming video thing. I thought that was kind of cool of them to go in that direction. It doesn't seem like the battery life is quite living up to those numbers, however, which sadly is typical. So I don't know what the claimed battery life is on the Surface Pro 7. It's probably in the 11-hour range or something like that. I'll have to look it up. I'm sorry, but I've only done one battery rundown. In fact, I did that yesterday. Well, and that's the other thing I was doing when I was laying up in the bed was working on that laptop, that tablet or whatever. According to, and again, this is just one run. It's not fair. I'm sure it will go up a little bit, but it's not going to double. Let's put it that way. It was like 5 hours, not even 5 hours. It was like 4 hours and 50 something minutes. And I was like, that is not good. I mean, I've reviewed a lot of laptops that, again, over a longer period of time, but you look at that battery report that Windows can generate and it's 7, 8, 11, 12, 14, depending on the machine. I mean, it can be really high. So that's kind of crappy.
A little bit.
I mean, yeah. Now it does do fast charging, but I think the issue there is 5 hours is not all day by any measure. I mean, unless you're not working hard enough.
It's not even all morning for some people.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna keep at that. I don't want to. I didn't. I don't want to. I just want to throw that out there because I get a lot of questions about it. But
sure.
And it's something I think you should look at as well, right, on the laptop, and see where that falls. And I don't remember the claims for that one either, but I bet you're going to see somewhere that, assuming they're around the same, 5 to 7, something like that.
Yeah.
7 would be good. 5 is not. It's not good.
5 isn't even a PlayStation keynote, so.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not good.
So, all right, folks. So that wraps it up for today. We will catch all of you right back here tomorrow, which is Thursday on First Ring Daily.